Hello and welcome to a special edition of ABC 13 Weather Now. I'm Chief Meteorologist Travis Herzog. Houston is at the highest risk of billion-dollar disasters in the entire country, whether it be from hurricanes and tornadoes or flash floods and winter storms. With the frequency of extreme weather events increasing, it's more important now than ever to have the best technology to keep you safe when severe weather strikes. As Houston's severe weather leader, we here at ABC 13 are committed to providing you the most accurate forecast with superior technology by introducing the 13 Alert Radar Network. The United States is home to the most advanced radar network in the world called NEXRAD. But even the best in the world is not perfect. While the 160 radars in this network provide some degree of radar coverage to most of our nation, there are critical gaps scattered throughout the country where we cannot see severe weather happening, including here in southeast Texas. That's why we are now investing in a new private radar network operated by Climavision, a company that aims to fill those gaps and show you what we've been missing.
This problem has been talked about for decades, but there's been relative inaction on many fronts. There's been these gaps, but nothing comprehensive like we are deploying at Climavision in terms of this radar network. So I'm proud of the fact that we're stepping up as a private entity, working in partnership with the government and actually stepping forward with a solution to a problem that's been talked about for a long time.
When it comes to severe weather, radar technology is life-saving. As the beam rotates around in a full circle, it gives us critical information on where storms are located, where they're going, and what's inside them. But because the Earth is a sphere, as that radar beam spreads outward, it gains altitude and eventually leaves our atmosphere entirely. So the closer a storm is to the radar beam, the better the information we can get on what's happening in the lowest levels where severe weather occurs. As the beam travels farther out and gains elevation, it hits distant storms at higher and higher levels, and after the beam travels just 60 miles, we can become blind to what's occurring near the ground. So, what have we been missing?
Lots of impactful weather can occur. You've seen it firsthand in the Houston area there. You can get smaller tornadoes, EF1s and 2s, that form at these very low levels and can go undetected by the existing network.
We just had 2 warnings that came down. All of us are under a tornado watch until 1 o'clock. That's the large red box that you see. But the new warning that just came down is this severe thunderstorm warning. It's a rather large one. This exact scenario occurred here in southeast Texas during the Valentine's Day tornado outbreak in 2017. As David Tillman and I were tag-teaming continuous tornado coverage on live TV, an EF1 tornado developed over the town of Van Vleck in Matagorda County. The only problem is that we didn't know it. The existing National Weather Service radar network could not see the rotation, and a warning was never issued. Then the damage reports started to come in.
Right over Van Vleck. Now I want to show you just how this EF1 tornado skipped around this town.
We are determined to make sure this never happens again. Using Van Vleck as an example, the 2 closest radars in the National Weather Service's NEXRAD network are located near Houston and Corpus Christi. This creates a large gap in coverage southwest of Houston where we cannot see what is happening below 5,000 feet. Until now. The first radar we've added to the 13 Alert Radar Network is located in Edna, Texas, effectively filling the gap that prevented us from seeing the Van Vleck tornado.
One of our mantras is see what you've been missing. And quite literally, people have been missing impactful weather at these lower levels. And by our deployment of radars in these gaps, we're going to be able to provide insights that have never been seen before in terms of breaking weather.
And we're just getting started with plans for 2 additional radars to join the 13 Alert Radar Network in 2024, helping us to give you advance warning and stay ahead of the storms.
When you're talking about seconds and being able to provide better warning, better lead time, that can mean all the difference in a breaking weather event like a tornado or a severe thunderstorm.
One of the best parts of the new radar network is how it strengthens our partnership with the National Weather Service. Meteorologist Alita Laresca spoke with the good folks at our local office about the way technology like this can help save lives.
It's tearing all them houses up. Oh, look at that house. Look at that house right there. Look at it.
Please don't come this way.
Sure enough, that's just what did all this widespread damage all over Harris County. From shopping centers in the west to subdivisions in the east, nightfall disguises intense devastation. Good evening, everyone. Hundreds of Houstonians are without homes tonight. Thousands of others without
It was the
power.
pre-Thanksgiving tornado outbreak of 1992, and with the help of a new radar,
They were seeing things with the new radar back then that they weren't able to see before, specifically the actual circulations within the storm.
it was the first time National Weather Service meteorologist Dan Riley says they saw rotation in great detail due to an update to their Doppler radar.
Prior to that, you could see the kind of patterns of rainfall and reflectivity, but with the Doppler upgrade, you can actually see what we call a mesocyclone, a tight circulation within a storm. And the tighter that mesocyclone, the greater the likelihood of a tornado.
And that upgrade may have saved lives. Miraculously, no one was killed in the outbreak, partially attributed to the upgrade in the radar that allowed forecasters to provide warnings up to 20 minutes in advance. Several of these upgrades have happened during Riley's time with the Weather Service.
When I started in the Weather Service in 1993, I was using a 1957 era technology where we'd actually hand crank the radar up and down, trace out the echoes and such. And then in the early 90s, the National Weather Service had a big upgrade to Doppler radar. And that's still our bread and butter technology.
Even today, with the best radar, there can be coverage gaps, and those gaps in between radars can be challenging for forecasters.
It's a big challenge, actually, if the storm is either too close or too far from the radar, say beyond 60, 70 miles especially. We don't have all the details. In fact, we never have all the details on what's going on at the surface. So we have a very active Skywarn Weather Spotter program that any of your viewers can be involved in. We would welcome them to be part of that Weather Spotter network and report to us what they're actually seeing on the ground.
But now ABC 13 is taking a giant leap forward, investing in 3 new radars that will fill in the coverage gaps in southeast Texas. We're calling it the 13 Alert Radar Network.
We at the Weather Service welcome any data that we can see. We think it is a good effort, to kind of try to do some gap filling where there might be a need.
With our latest radar upgrades and the partnership between the Weather Service and ABC 13, providing the community with advance warning is all about working together to keep you safe from any severe weather.
What I would say is we really are a team. We have the Weather Service putting out the warnings. We're talking to the meteorologists at ABC 13. They're giving us feedback. We're both communicating with the public. The public is giving us information as well as far as where they're seeing. And we're trying to all work as a unit to get those warnings out as quickly and as accurately as we can. So here in Houston, we've sort of battle tested. We've had a lot of floods, a lot of severe weather. And so even the viewers at home are part of this warning operation through this Weather Spotter program and other things. We all work together.
13 Alert Radar is the newest building block in ABC 13's commitment to keep our communities safe. In 90 seconds, we're talking more about how this exclusive network is just one part of our weather arsenal. Our 13 Alert Radar network is just our latest step in a continuing commitment to give you the most detailed information we can to keep your family safe. Meteorologist Elise Smith sat down with our president and general manager, Wendy Granado, to talk more about what this exclusive network of radars will provide to the communities we serve.
Well, thank you so much for joining me, Wendy, as we have this important conversation about an exciting new piece of technology that we're going to have here at ABC 13. And we here at ABC 13, KTRK, we've had a long-standing track record of being able to provide top-notch weather coverage, but that really comes from the top down, from station leadership.
It's such a heavy responsibility that we have to truly serve and protect the public. We are always on the lookout for what's the newest, latest, greatest technology. We have assembled what I think is the most skilled forecasting meteorologist team in local news in the country. And now what we have to do is equip all of you with the best tools that you can to do your job and to be elite forecasters. And we came across something that we really do think is breakthrough technology. And yes, it'll be exclusive to us, but we know if ever lives are on the line, this is the kind of technology that will be shared to make sure that we are protecting everybody we possibly can. And I think just the clarity that this new radar will provide, and eventually this network of radars will provide, in order to give you guys the tools for better clarity, better accuracy, better forecasting, so that people not only know what's coming and when it's coming, but when it's okay and it's not going to be as bad. I think that's just as important, right?
Yes.
To warn people when it's bad, but to also tell them it's okay, it may not be as bad as we had originally thought. I think both are equally as important.
We have a commitment to the team, a commitment to the coverage, but a commitment to this community to save lives and property. As a meteorologist, that's at my core, and it's at the station core as well.
I think so. I think at the end of the day, at the heart of what we do is public service, right? And we provide a service to the public like no other. And we really do consider ourselves frontline defenders, just like firefighters and police officers. Information can be the difference between you making a decision whether to stay or whether to go, whether to get on the roads or not, whether to work from home, whether to send your kids to school. And so that is potentially life-saving information. And so every bit of technology that we can get our hands on to help equip you guys with the ability to make the fastest, most accurate forecasting, at the end of the day, that's what's most important to us.
Right. And so what would you say to our viewers, to kind of wrap it all up, who live in the most one of the most disaster-prone cities and counties in America? What do you say to our viewers about the coverage we can provide here on the ABC 13 Weather Team?
Yeah, I think I would say rest assured we are doing everything in our power to make sure that we have the best technology, the best team, the highest level of equipment to be there for you day in, day out, 24/7, especially in times when we know you need us, especially in times where we know the weather has the potential to be severe. We're going to be there for you to keep you safe, to help you prepare, to protect your family.
The 13 Alert Radar Network gives us an unprecedented view of severe weather all across southeast Texas. Meteorologist David Tillman takes a look back at the history of radar and how we got to this point.
One of the earliest uses for radar, developed by scientists in the late 1800s, was to detect the presence of ships at night or in foggy weather. Decades later, radar was a key device in the victory by Allied forces in World War II. Today, doctors use radar to examine internal organs, and police use them to know if you're speeding or not. Shortly after World War II, meteorologists began using radars a lot like our Mega Doppler to detect precipitation like rain and snow. Technology really leaped between 1950 and 1980, going from just being able to see precipitation to being able to see rotating winds inside of a storm.
KTRK is no stranger to radar use. Back in the old days, we used a crude black and white radar display to show you where rain and thunderstorms were located.
We have a time-lapse radar sequence that shows you the weather situation as it was this afternoon.
In May of 1983, weatherman Ed Brandon used a color radar display to track a tornado outbreak that killed 11 people. It was the deadliest tornado outbreak in southeast Texas history.
In August of that same year, he used radar and satellite to track Hurricane Alicia. Once again, the radar could show you the rain falling in the storm, but it couldn't show you the extreme winds in the core of the storm or the tornadoes that occurred in the outer rain bands. Then in 1999, ABC 13 took a huge leap when they installed live Super Doppler 13 near Missouri City. Using 250,000 watts of power, the radar displayed 16 discrete levels of intensity. Its Doppler capability allowed it to see swirling winds inside thunderstorms. One of the biggest tests for Super Doppler came during Tropical Storm Allison in June of 2001. In 2006, ABC 13 really stepped it up when they upgraded Super Doppler from 250,000 watts to 1 million watts.
We called it Live Mega Doppler 13.
That radar scanned the sky every 20 seconds and was able to see heavy rain, hail, tornadoes, insects, and even planes landing at Bush and Hobby airports. Over its 17 years of life, it guided us through some of the worst weather in our history, including Hurricanes Ike and Harvey, Tropical Storm Imelda, and the Memorial Day and Tax Day floods. On April 20, 2020, Mega spotted the Onalaska tornado. That twister had 140-mile-per-hour winds and was a long-track tornado, staying on the ground for over 30 miles.
On January 24, 2023, our worst tornado in nearly 30 years struck Pasadena. That storm was an EF3 with 140-mile-per-hour winds. We used a combination of Mega Doppler and the Doppler at the National Weather Service to punch through extremely heavy rain to detect the devastating tornado.
Doppler radar technology was not only able to see the rotating winds of the tornado, but it also saw debris falling inside the storm. That enabled the National Weather Service to issue the first tornado emergency in Southeast Texas history. Radar technology is not perfect. As you know, the Earth is round and the beams of radiation produced by radar travel straight. That means tornadoes produced by thunderstorms more than 60 miles away can be very hard to see. In our not too distant past, tornadic circulations in Van Vleck in Matagorda County and Lovelady in Houston County were simply missed. That's why we're very excited about our new 13 alert trio of Doppler radars. They will be strategically placed to allow us to track tornadoes over every inch of land in Southeast Texas, something we sorely need.
We've explained a lot about the impact of our new radar network. Ahead, meteorologist Rachel Bryars explains how Doppler radar works and how we use it to save lives.
Radar, our eyes into the storm. You see it on TV almost every day. It's the best way to track and visualize rain. But how does it work? The radar sends out a pulse of energy. If the pulse hits an object, the energy will be scattered in all directions. A small fraction of that energy is scattered right back to the radar. The computer will then analyze the strength of the pulse and the time it took to travel back. The larger the object, the brighter the color will be on radar reflectivity. If the radar can also detect the frequency of the return pulse, it's known as a Doppler radar. The frequency of the incoming wave will change based on the motion of the rain. The Doppler effect was named after Austrian physicist Christian Doppler, who first discovered the phenomenon. Now, you may have unknowingly experienced the Doppler effect firsthand with a passing train or a passing police car. You may have noticed that there is a change in pitch of the siren as the car heads towards you, usually getting higher as the car approaches. This is due to sound waves being compressed. When the car moves away, the sound waves are longer or stretched, causing the pitch to be lower. This all boils down to physics and the way waves work. So to demonstrate, we are going to use this slinky. Now, on one hand, we have the source. On the other hand, we have the observer, and we're going to model the way that a wave actually works. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in motion. As the source gets closer to the observer, the wave gets squeezed, and the frequency increases. The pitch gets higher. As the source moves away from the observer, the wavelength gets longer, which decreases the frequency and the pitch. This is the same process that Doppler radar uses to determine which way rain is moving and can also be used to estimate the actual speed of the wind. This allows meteorologists to peek into the storm, which can help a lot with tornado detection. The radar sends out its pulse, and if the frequency is low from a long wavelength, the computer will know and interpret that as winds moving away from the radar. If the radar sends out its pulse and gets back a high frequency from short wavelengths, it will know that the winds are moving towards the radar. Here's a look at what you may see on air. This is showing us our Doppler winds. The radar is receiving its information, a computer is analyzing it, and it's putting it into this nice display. So what we are looking at here are the winds. We're looking at two colors here. We have red, we have green. The green shows winds that are going towards the radar. Red are showing winds that are going away from the radar. Now, this is really important. We can figure out where these storms are going, where the wind is going. We can also estimate the wind speed, but this is also very important when it comes to tornado detection. Whenever we get a couplet of red and green right next to each other, that's when we can actually see some tornado rotation.
This is a tornado emergency for parts of South Harris County. If you are in the path of this circulation, you have got to seek shelter.
So we can see rotation within storms, but we can also see microbursts that pose a big threat to life and property. Meteorologist Kevin Roth is up next with one of the deadliest microburst events in Texas history.
Sadly, advancements in forecasting technology and coverage often come in the wake of tragedy. Meteorologist Kevin Roth explains how a deadly plane crash changed the way radars are set up across the entire U.S.
August 2nd, 1985, Delta Flight 191 was finishing the first leg of a cross-country trip from Fort Lauderdale to Los Angeles on approach to DFW Airport for a layover when tragedy struck. The flight was met with severe turbulence on the north end of the airport, bringing down the plane and costing the lives of more than 100 people on board.
Flight 191 was hit by a severe wind shear.
The National Transportation Safety Board determined the cause of the crash to be wind shear associated with an intense thunderstorm downdraft that blew the plane into the ground. That intense downdraft, which was not fully understood at the time, is now better known as a microburst. Microbursts are hyper-localized, intense winds generated from mature and decaying thunderstorms. Once a mature storm reaches a point where the updraft can no longer support the rain and hail core inside of the thunderstorm, that rain core plummets to the ground, creating incredible sinking winds that fan outward after reaching the surface. Microbursts are capable of producing wind gusts of 150 miles per hour, which, as was the case with the thunderstorm that brought down Delta Flight 191, can be deadly. This tragedy was not a one-off occurrence either. There have been numerous mass casualty plane crashes in the U.S. in which the NTSB found weather was a contributing or primary factor in the crash. Those storm-related crashes highlighted the need for aviation reform and for continued and strengthened collaboration between the National Weather Service and the FAA. In the summer of 1986, just 1 year after Delta Flight 191 crashed at DFW Airport, a study was commissioned to better understand the environments that are supportive of those damaging microburst storms. And along with the need for better understanding of microbursts was a critical need for better detection of microbursts. Born from that need was the Terminal Doppler Weather Radar, a series of Doppler radars strategically placed at airports which were particularly susceptible to microburst winds from a thunderstorm. Included in that network of 45 weather radars is one at DFW, where Delta Flight 191 crashed, and two in the Houston area, one at each of our major airports. The terminal Doppler scan at IAH is particularly helpful for communities on the north side of the Houston area, including Harris, Waller, Grimes, Montgomery, Walker, and San Jacinto counties, while the Hobby Terminal Doppler can analyze storms from the south side of Houston all the way down to the coast. These terminal Doppler radars are an incredibly useful tool for meteorologists, as they're capable of providing updates every single minute and can scan the lower levels of nearby storms of which other weather radars farther away may not be able to detect. The more weather radars we have spaced throughout southeast Texas, the greater our ability to spot damaging winds and potential tornadoes for all of our local communities. Our newest weather radar near Edna joins the two terminal Dopplers and the National Weather Service Doppler radar to create the greatest coverage of Doppler radars in southeast Texas. That's the power of our 13 Alert radar. More radars, more coverage, more advanced warning for you and your family when it matters most.
Thank you for joining us on this special edition of ABC 13 Weather Now. From hurricanes and tornadoes to heavy rain and flash floods, the ABC 13 Alert Radar Network is a powerful new tool to help us assist you in planning, preparing, and staying safe during any kind of weather.